How's everybody? Can you guys hear us? Good. You have Kevin and Johnson and Shelley Johnson today for you. Those of you who don't know us, we live in Montana. I have a real estate team in Charlotte, North Carolina. We sell a lot of homes. Sold a lot of homes for like 20 years. And we're excited to be here. Brent asked us to step in today to talk about agent attraction and help you guys get going on that. And a lot of you are super successful with agent attraction. So we're excited to be here to share some insights of what we're doing and just learn from each other and be able to be a part of what we're doing together.
So everybody having a good day so far? Thumbs up. Even those of you who aren't showing us your screens, thumbs up. David Goebbels. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about agent attraction today, but the one thing we're going to talk about is something that if you're selling homes, you have people in your group that are selling homes. This same thing is a concept. I really wish they would offer a college degree in something like this, because I can tell you, you will change everything in your world if you learn this one thing. And the one thing is just mastery of asking questions. Okay. You can literally use questions to guide conversations. You can lead people. Have any of you, again, just show of hands, have any of you had to tell someone, lead them to the trough? So be it. Okay. But you had to lead somebody to the trough where you already knew the answer, but you had to get them to understand the same thing you already understood. Anybody? Okay. So a good way of doing things like that sometimes is utilizing questions. We're going to talk about how to utilize questions to get what, in a sense, like, again, we're going to talk about agent attraction, but you might be talking about a listing. Okay. So we're going to talk, the framework we're going to use is QUEST, as in like you're going on a quest. And it's an acronym, which I'll go through and I'll talk to you guys about. But this acronym for QUEST is something we're going to walk through and talk about. How do you utilize questions to talk to someone else about EXP? Because the first thing you need to do is not talk about EXP. That is literally the last thing you want to do. Because when you start talking to someone and you're talking about agent attraction, it needs to be focused on them. Think of this like a dating game. Okay. You don't want, for example, to ask someone, do you want to go on horseback rides for a date? And they can't stand horses. Okay. It's probably a bad idea. And there's other things you could ask them, but we won't talk about that. So we'll talk a little bit about questions. Okay. I made some notes for myself. So if you see me look down, I'm not texting my friends. I'm actually going through and I'm referring back to my notes. So the first thing you're going to do in the acronym of QUEST is you're going to qualify their current experience. So basically you're trying to learn more about them. You want to know about them, because if you are talking about EXP, you will eventually talk about EXP. You have to apply the EXP model to them, not the other way around. That's where a lot of people get it wrong, is they go in and for example, we talk about EXPing on people. And that's because we go in and we say, well, let me tell you about rev share. Let me tell you about stock. And you guys know that there's only like 10% of the company that actually actively works on agent attraction. And right now we're on the 1% club, right? So when you think about 10% of the people, that means 90% of the people have no real interest in agent attraction. Okay. So you have to figure out what really is meaningful to them. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to qualify their experience. And I've got a couple sample questions for you that you can write down. And for example, what made you choose your current brokerage? Okay, you might, and when you ask questions like this, sometimes one question is going to lead to another question, is going to lead to another question. And ideally, you're going to get them to do a lot of the talking by you using great questions. So what made you choose your current brokerage? May bring it up, say, okay, when they tell you, well, I went with XYZ brokerage. Okay, cool. Why? Okay. And they may say, well, initially, one of my friends brought me on. Initially, they had a really great model. And then if they throw in the but, you better start taking notes, because they throw in initially it was a great model, but, and now the place is just like a morgue. Now the wheels have come off that place. Now
Leadership changed.
What's that?
Leadership changed or something changed. Or maybe they've outgrown that company, but I don't have I'm not having one to look up to or to look toward being in that company. Could be anything.
So another one for qualifying their experience would be what's working for you so far. You want to assume they're doing business. And if they're not doing business, they're going to ultimately tell you, like, I've not sold a house in 9 months. I've only sold 2 homes in, X amount of time. So what's working for you? And then if you can wave a magic wand and just fix 3 things about your current situation, what would it be? Okay, I'm just getting to know you. That's all I want to know is when I'm asking you these questions, because ultimately either you're taking actual notes or you're taking mental notes. You will then at some point start thinking about, okay, the EXP model and how does this apply to this person? So what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say that, a lot of times when we're talking to folks, you asking the questions, no one's ever asked them. They're like in bed, laying in bed at night, thinking about themselves, about the things that are bothering them, but they've never had anyone to even talk to about it because they can't talk to their brokerage about it. Their spouse probably doesn't want to hear about it or has talked to them already, but they don't have like a third person to like really bounce the ideas off of. So them to get them to come across their lips and verbalize it is a whole opportunity in itself, because it's going to help them ruminate on what they could change in that situation potentially through an opportunity with another firm. And then if you have the solutions for that, which I'm sure Kevin's getting to, it's helpful.
Yep. So the next in quest would be understanding their goals. So QU, we're going to understand their goals. So we could ask questions such as, what are you personally working toward? What are you working towards this year? Now you could leave it like that, or you could say, what are you personally working towards this year? What are you working towards with your business this year? Include both, because some people may say they may start giving you information where, again, depending on how you ask that question, they might start volunteering. Oh, well, I have to make enough money to retire my spouse. I have to make enough money to, there's a lot of people I'm seeing on this call that are probably in that range where you're doing role reversal with your parents. Okay. And you're going to have people that say, my mom's starting to, her health is not doing well. My dad is, fell ill and I got to take care of him. Or there could be other things that are going on. Kids are going to college, kids are getting married, all kinds of different things. So it may also be, I sold 10 homes last year, but I finally figured out I need to sell 20 for this to make sense. Okay. So again, they're giving you information. Another one would be, are you looking to grow a team? So you're kind of figuring out, do they want to be a lone wolf? Do they want to grow a team? Do they want to become part of a team? Do they want to plug into something? And what would an ideal business and life look like for you in 2 years? You're trying to get them to think beyond today, because that's one of the things that a lot of people, when you ask them how's things, are thinking about today. They're only thinking about what's going on. Most times it's going to be pain points. I'm not selling enough. I'm not making enough. I'm not happy where I am. Those pain points. Getting people focused on something positive, such as, where do you want to be in 2 years? Not the really bad interview question of, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Not that kind of thing, but asking them that question of, again, if you could wave a magic wand, what would great look like for you in 2 years? Because there's a lot of people, like some of us might say, you could sell 30 homes. And to some people, that sounds stressful. They don't want stress. Okay. So how you find out from them what good looks like.
One thing I like to share is whenever I'm talking to somebody, because we have a team, Craig and I have a team, they will automatically assume that I want to help them build a team. And that's probably sometimes very much the last thing they ever want to do. So I always have to qualify where I am so that they know that I'm not pushing that agenda on them, because they just think, oh, well, she has a team, she must want me to have a team. I always say, look, if I was going to do it over again, I would do it differently. And I would love to be in your position to be able to craft it and make it the way I want it to be. And that way they don't like assume, because people have assumptions about us when they meet us, that we're a certain way or that we do things a certain way. And it's helpful when you can kind of like back it up and make it about them, and just remind them that just because that's where you are doesn't mean that's where you would actually do what you would do over again. And that's helped me a lot when I talk to agents. Um, if you're a solo agent and you're talking to a team, you can always relate to, like, my business partner has a team. Like if your organization has a team, someone who, like Brent or anybody that's in your organization, you can relate back to that and say, my business partner's team, we work on growth. So if that is their goal and they're a solo agent and you're a solo agent, you're like, well, I don't have a path for them. You do, because you have partners like Kevin and myself, or anybody will help you with that agent with their team questions, because I've had a lot of people in our organization say, oh, well, this person has a really big team and it intimidates them. But Brent and I were talking 2 weeks ago, and the loneliest place in the world is leadership. I mean, it is the loneliest spot, and most team leaders feel very alone. They feel responsible. They feel a lot of pressure. So by you talking to them, you're actually giving them a sounding board again that they don't usually have, because leadership is lonely.
And think about it for a minute. Who's in a position of leadership? Okay. A position of leadership might be a team owner. It might be a head of a brokerage. It might be a director of ops. It might be someone who's even in the marketing, it might be part of their marketing team. It could be a solo agent.
Mhm.
Because think about it for a minute. A solo agent is a CEO of their own business.
Mhm.
Okay, so everyone has some level of
Team.
leadership, some level of team. And every real estate agent, you take a solo agent. If you sell a home, who's on your team? Okay, it might be whoever you're buying your leads from, or if you're doing it yourself, it might be your marketing team. It might be your transaction coordinator. It might be your spouse. It might be, I can go on and on and on. Every real estate agent has a team. Your inspectors, your mortgage people, everyone has a team. So any more you want to add to this one before okay. So moving on, because we have an agenda here. We got to get you guys off in 30 minutes. So the next E in Quest is explore their obstacles. Okay, everybody's got them. Every person out there has obstacles. So the questions you could ask would be, what's holding you back from hitting your goals right now? And I will tell you guys, I've been coaching for 25 years. Everyone has obstacles. Everybody's struggling with something. And it might be like one of Shelley's favorite phrases is, every level has its devil. Like she says that all the time, because you might have somebody, they did 10 million, and once they get to 20 million, they feel totally stressed out and they don't know where to go next, how to leverage themselves, how to grow, how to buy their time back. So every level has its devil.
Yeah.
Since it's your
even like a $2 million agent doesn't know how to get to 4 million, 4 million doesn't know how to get to 8 doesn't know how to get to 16. And then whenever you hit those points, you have to do hiring, you have to find leverage in certain capacities, whether it's VAs or there's just, and Dan, I see you on here, he's driving right now. He's one of the busiest guys I know. He's growing a big team right now. And I know that, when you hit these spots and we have these conversations, it's like, even everybody is, Brent has his own, Brent thinks he's like a Superman to all of us. Don't you agree? Brent's a Superman. Well, to me, he is. And even he has his own levels. That's why he invests so much in his education, and he spends so much energy trying to better himself through reading and listening and going to tons of events. And that's how he grows himself personally. I know, Clark, you can attest that. You've known him for probably 30 years, right? And but in order to get through those pieces, that's why you're on the Zoom call. That's why you're the 1%, because most people don't take the time to invest back in themselves just to learn. Like, if you take one thing from today and it helps you incrementally, that's leadership, because you took the time to build into something for yourself. And people don't think of that. People think, oh, leadership's this sexy thing. It's really not. Leadership is taking accountability for oneself so that they can help others. And then taking accountability for our own self is by coming, like even Kevin and I sharing with you all today, for us, that we're learning too. We may be the ones sharing with you, but we're working together, learning, and it makes us think a little differently. So every time you put yourself in a position either to learn or share, you're in a leadership position. So congratulations to all of you guys for doing that. It's amazing.
and hopefully, taking a little bit of a sidestep with this, because EXP was literally built on helping other people.
True.
That's literally like Brent's whole goal is, how much value can I bring to my organization?
Yeah.
Okay. And he doesn't think about 7 levels. He's also thinking about level 17. Okay. I mean, it's like he wants everybody to get value. So when you guys come to calls like this, are you like taking notes from some things like this and then turning around and going right to your organization or the people that you want to attract and figure out, how can I package up some of what we heard today or in another call and give it to my organization, because the more value you give, the more people you're going to attract.
Give it to a client, give it to another agent. I mean, just shooting a text, like after this, shoot to 5 agents and be like, hey, I was on the Zoom today and I learned X and this might help you too. People love that. They appreciate it because no one's thinking about them. They're like out there just trying to get it all done. Sorry.
So sticking with exploring obstacles, okay, is where do you feel like you're spending a lot of effort but not getting an ROI? Okay, and there may be, and I'm just throwing this out there, you may ask that kind of question and then find out, well, I'm not really putting a lot of effort into a lot of things. I mean, the one thing, if you said, if there was one thing that if we could make one change across the entire real estate world, is that every agent followed up with their leads consistently, you'd have a lot of happier people, right? But I'm guessing when you ask that question, that you'll find out that maybe they're just not spending as much time as they should, because if you're not selling houses, you should be cultivating. So that still gives you an idea of how can I help this person? What do you wish your current brokerage would provide that you're not getting right now? And I'll tell you right now, I want to hit the pause button. In fact, this would be a good place for you to do your thing about Leo.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But I can tell you right now, I had a conversation with somebody last week, and they were at this point, they're like, they literally just basically told me, at this point really don't understand what EXP truly has to offer me. They've been here for a year and a half, but they still don't really know for themselves, much less to be able to explain it to someone else. So Shelley's got something that she wanted to throw out there, which is hopefully going to be an aha, but maybe even an action item for you guys as well.
So this Thursday, Leo Pareja, our CEO, is providing a training, and it's like, but did you die? I'm going to show you the graphic here. Hold on one second. I'll get it to you guys somehow through Brent's team. But he has a graphic here. It's, but did you die? Where am I?
Right here in the middle.
So that's the graphic. It's on social media, and it's this Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what I would do with this is all about, I'll read you what it says. Hold on, bear with me one second. I was organized and I lost it. But first of all, did you guys realize that our CEO by the age of 28 had sold 4,000 homes? How many of you guys knew that? Did you know that he was number 1 at Keller Williams? And that he closed 398 transactions, was in the top 10 of the Latino agents in America. Those are really important things to know, because when you're talking to other agents, a lot of times these leadership people inside of other companies haven't had any real estate experience. And here our leader is bringing us how he sold more houses. In this presentation, let me pull it up for you. Bear with me just a second.
So she's looking this up. Part of what we're getting at with this is Leo's putting on this listing presentation class this week. Okay. You need to invite people to that.
Yeah.
Okay. How many times have you heard people say, once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it? Okay. How many times have you heard people say, once I got in behind the curtain and I was part of EXP, I got to meet a lot of the people, and oh my God, it's so much different. It's so much better. Like, people actually are willing to help you. I remember when Shelley was at some previous brokerages, and they would literally, they would teach like a social media class, but it was like somebody who didn't want to produce anymore, and they're teaching you about MySpace instead of Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, right? It's really old stuff that just doesn't really even apply anymore. But you got people who are truly luxury agents teaching luxury. You got somebody like Leo Pareja, who sold 4,000 homes, teaching you his method on how to do listing appointments.
Renee just dropped it in the chat. And
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Renee. That link, when you look at it, you're going to be able to see It's about listings. It's about basically like selling more houses right now. Like, but I bet you his presentation has something to do with, did you die? Meaning, like, did you make the calls? Did it kill you? Are we really doing? And I remember it was like, are you really doing enough? Are we really doing what Brent always says, massive action, whether it's agent attraction or homes, but taking this event and think about this. You have 2 days. You have this afternoon and Thursday and Wednesday to reach out to 30 agents and say, hey, our CEO is offering this about selling more houses. I'm excited about it. Would you like to come be a part of this with me? I mean, inviting somebody, Brent always talks about inviting people to different things. This is a great opportunity to invite them. They don't even have to show their name on the screen. They can just listen and learn from one of the top people in the country. That's why I wanted to share his stats with you, because if you take the information and you learn, you're able to share that with someone else. One, they're going to appreciate it. That's leadership in itself. Two, you're helping them with their business. It opens the door for further conversations down the road. They're going to be like, oh my God, that CEO was so cool. He's funny. He's smart. Like, I don't know who could ever listen to Leo and not think, oh my gosh, the man is brilliant. So I think that just builds the credibility of what you're trying to do, and you're able to show them firsthand what it's like to be a part of our company. So I would, and I'm going to invite 10 to 20 people myself to that call, because I'm like, it's a great opportunity to invite someone to something. Then all these build events that are going on. I know right now there's one in Dallas. I think Brent's on a flight there right now. Here's the deal about these build events. You're like, oh, but it's not my event. Oh, I'm not speaking on stage. Oh, it's in Charlotte. Oh, it's in Dallas. Even better, because it's going to build your organization outside of your market. You go to the event, you get on the phone, start inviting 20, 30 people. You can even use the person's name. Say, like Clark, you get on the phone, you start calling agents in Charlotte. You're like, hey, my friend Shelley Johnson, they know me. I sell a ton of real estate. They know my name. They like me. I do good business. Like my friend Shelley Johnson and I'm Clark Brim. I live in California. Her and I are business partners. I'd love to invite you to the Charlotte Build event. We could co-sponsor that person together. And then we set up a Zoom call. Now we've got a bunch of three-way calls going. We got action. Because I will tell you one thing that will make a difference when you start agent attraction or selling houses or whatever it is you're trying to do, is if you do something and you get a small win, it builds your confidence by 10,000%. And I'm a perfect example of that. Let me tell you about my week 3 weeks ago. I'm totally off
You have
topic.
8 minutes.
Okay, I'm totally off topic, but this is important. So 3 weeks ago, I was freaking out because we had spent hundreds and hundreds of hours on this build event. Hundreds. I'm not talking like 10 hours, 20 hours, hundreds across multiple people. Kevin, myself, my business partner.
And not to mention, this is a 6-figure budget.
It's a big, I'm signing contracts going, I'm happy to pay you $20,000 to show up, AV guy. I'm happy to pay you $30,000 to use your venue. Oh, we need food. Oh, that's another 10 grand. No problem. I'm just signing my name away. And I'm like, this is a long time, more than 3 weeks ago. It's been a few months now, but I was freaking out. Kevin's like, I'm like, should I call this person? He's like, absolutely not. Because what's that person going to do? Yeah, you should cancel it. Oh my God, I can't imagine doing that. Would have called the wrong person, right? Kevin's like, no, we need to call Brent. I called Brent. I called him up. I was like, Brent, I wasn't trying to make him have a bad day. That wasn't my goal. I just was trying to get some like, it's going to work out, Shelley. And my tone was so low. He said he'd never heard me like that before in his life. I've known him for 8 years. The point is I talked to him. He's like, first of all, I'm not a quitter, so I wasn't going to quit on this build event. We had a very successful one last year. It's just scary, when you've sold 5 tickets and you've got like this big nut. So guess what happened? In a week, we sold over 100 VIP tickets. We've got sponsors. We're crushing it. Like in just a few weeks, it's like just killing it for this event. And the speakers we have, the lineup we have. But I'm telling you that because that little bit of a win, when the first guy says, it was Tristan O'Grady, many of you know him, he's been on these calls, buys 10 tickets and says, Shelley, this is an amazing event, we're doing this, I'm bringing 10, I'm bringing 20. And then the next guy, we're selling tickets like crazy now. So anyways, my point is like, you've got to get those wins, and you got to get around the right people, like this call, that push you forward. And I'm going to get Kevin back.
So David Goebbels was there last year. He's on this call, and he knows what it was like for us. And okay, Shelley's telling you get people there. we're doing all the heavy lifting for you guys. And this is not the only one. They got one in Dallas, they got one in other places, but we're doing all the heavy lifting. For us, it's like a wedding. When you're the bride or groom of the wedding, you want to get around and be able to like hug and shake everybody's hands and whatnot. When you bring people, you can give those people 100% of your attention.
Right.
Okay. So just think of it that way. Get people to these events, no matter what it
Where
is.
they are.
It could be Cabo, it can be a build, it can be whatever, but get them to events. Okay.
And just leverage it for yourself.
So we got 5 minutes to go through S&T. Okay. Because we're still on a quest. We're on a quest to finish this. So the S in quest is we need to shift their thinking. Okay. Don't think of it as like, I got to change their mind. Their brokerage stinks. Okay. You just need to shift their thinking, because the more you ask questions, people are going to come to their own realization on things. You don't have to force feed things. You don't need to necessarily tell them. You lead them to the trough and they will drink. Okay. So have you ever wondered what your business would look like with different or better support systems or collaboration? Okay. How many brokerages do you know that do stuff like this? I mean, you think about like all the things that Brent brings to us. You may have people in your organization above you that brings things. You got Build, you got Cabo, you got EXP putting on hours and hours and hours of training every week. You've got things like that might literally just check boxes for them. Okay. And that's literally all you should be looking for, is how many boxes can I show them EXP checks off for them? Okay. What would it mean if you were selling more homes? Would it mean if you're selling more homes with less effort? Okay. What would it mean if you were to actually sell homes, feel like you're doing less work, and actually enjoy this game called real estate? Okay. How awesome would that be? What if you had access to top agents, and whether it's like EXP now has Land and Ranch, which I don't know if you guys have seen. What if you had access to luxury agents? What if you had access to people who did build successful teams? Okay. Those are questions you can ask you just want people to start thinking. That's the shift mindset. And then the last one is tie it to the right solution. That's why I said in the very beginning, ask a bunch of questions so you're not EXPing all over them. You're literally taking what they've already told you, figuring out what works for them. Because the way I explain to some people is EXP is like a big buffet. You walk in, you cannot eat it all. Like if you've been to a Brazilian steakhouse, you can't eat everything. So you kind of pick and choose what's really going to make you happy tonight. And it could be you can go eat a basket of bacon, or you can go eat beef, or you can have a really huge salad, whatever you want. But that's what you choose tonight. And that's why you tie it to the right solution. So based on what you said, you're reframing things. Based on what you said, have you seen how our model lets you plug into weekly masterminds? Well, have you seen, and just like Shelley's saying, bring them to this meeting that Leo is doing on Thursday. Okay. And when that is done, you say, do you see what EXP does for its agents? Do you see where this would help you? Or ask them, how would it help you? Could you see if you could plug into something like this once a week? Would it rekindle that fire inside of you? Okay. So you're asking questions like that. You notice I've not once mentioned anything about revenue share. I've not mentioned anything about stock, because what I think I've found through conversations, and Shelley might say as well, everything's based on, does the EXP model work for selling homes? The revenue share and the stock is always the cherry on top that they'll start asking questions about later. Mm-hmm. They will eventually get to that and ask about it if it is interesting to them, or if they've already told you, like, I got to have a retirement plan. Right. I got to have, okay, then they, in a sense, have given you, in a sense, permission, or served it up on a silver platter for you to talk about.
Everyone's looking for their solutions for today. So be thinking about that. Like if they need money today, they need to sell houses today. And it's nice to have a retirement plan or a stocks. It's nice to have the revenue share, and they're interested in it, but they're interested after they get their other problems solved. So that's why that's so important. The Build event, let me tell you where they are. One's in Seattle, Washington with Randy Bird. It's awesome. Build at Sea. I just want to tell them real quick.
Well, I was going to say, they can go to build25.com and you can see all of them on there.
So go in there and call the leader and say, hey, would you be okay if I called around your area and invited some agents? We could work on them together. We could because then once the Build event's over, you can tag team, do a 3-way call. Maybe they join that person's team. Maybe there's just ways to do this now to help each other. to be able to win. And that I'm sure the leader would be like thrilled because you're helping them, you know, it's
Yep.
helping you help them. And it's like, it's a win-win all the way around. So it's a great way to build your organization.
So now we'll send you guys off on a quest. You got a framework to actually work with people to either introduce them to EXP, or like I said, this might help you with client management. It might help you with doing more listing presentations. You can use the same framework. And then the other thing that I would really implore you, don't just use this with real estate. Try this when you go to the restaurant. Try this when you go to on travel. Try this on your kids. Try it on your parents. Try it on everybody. Okay. Because this is where you'll sharpen your axe and figure out how to really use questions. You can literally, I'll leave you with this. When I've done trainings, I would actually share this where long time ago in a previous life, we used to play a drinking game. Okay. And the drinking game was you had to keep asking questions, and the person who then got stumped and couldn't ask another question had to drink. Okay. So it could be like, hey, Clark, where are you going on vacation this year? And Clark says, oh, don't you just love the Bahamas? And then you might have Steve say, oh, don't you love fly fishing in the Bahamas? And you just keep going around. You keep driving a conversation with questions. Okay. And the more you can do that, I guarantee you sharpen that axe and you guys will win.
Yeah, people love to be able to think. When you allow people space to think, they like you better.
And we're 1 minute over.
Is it good? Are you guys good? He's way better than me. I just like to goof off.
So is this helpful? Good deal. All right. So if you guys have any questions, you can either reach out through Brent and his team, or if you know
I'll put our number down here so you can reach Kevin and I if you need us.
all right. So I'm going to read off as Shelley's typing in our number. I'll put it in the quest formula, okay, is number 1, qualify. So Q is qualify their current experience. U is understand their goals. E is explore their obstacles. S is shift their thinking. And then T is tie it to the right solution. So that said, hopefully that got your brains moving today. And if you guys have anything else, you know where to reach out to us. Other than that, you may have another call that you're going to be jumping on shortly. Yeah. And other than that, it's been great seeing all of you.
I did type in Bill 25 and I wasn't able to find it.
Oh, you weren't able to find it?
No, not bill25.com.
Let me go to Brent's. Hold on 1 second. I'll get it for you. Brent Gove. Hold on, I know it's on here.
Okay.
Right
okay.
there.
So like if
Just
you go to
click
his website right here at the bottom, it has the little thing, it'll take you right there.
Oh, Build Event 25. Okay. All right,
Sorry, that's our bad.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Yeah. And they're all right there. And then the leaders, everyone's leading these are really nice and they're excited, and every one of them is going to be spectacular. You don't have to worry about that one bit. These people, they've all poured their hearts into it. So I know you're going to have a fantastic experience, and just leverage other people's work. Be smart, be smarter than me.
So and just throw it out there right now, you got Dallas that's going on the 30th and 31st. You got Los Angeles that's going on the 31st. Then you have Orlando August 3rd and 7th. I know I'm reading it fast, but you guys can go to the website.
That's Build at Sea. So that one's on a cruise ship, which is going to be really fun.
So my point is, with any of these, stop for 5 minutes at some point, maybe tomorrow morning, and start thinking about people who are even in that region. And it's not a matter of whether they go or not. It gives you an excuse to call them and have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing they're going to do is say, oh man, I wish I could go, but I can't.
And then you can reach out to them again about something else, invite them to the Leo thing. But the main thing is get your list of people and just stay after it. I know a lot of you guys are doing this, so we know some of this is like just the same old, but it's a reminder that I need it. Sometimes I'm even talking to a group of people. I'm like, oh yeah, I should be doing this because we're all busy. But thanks guys. It was fun. Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Good seeing you all.
Bye.
Have a good day.